All right, so welcome to another video. This week we are going to try something a little different. We're going to take a look at the most common cliches found in Hollywood-style love themes. We're going to learn a simple template that you can use as a point of reference when you start writing your own unique love themes. Now, templates like this one can be very useful for understanding what's commonly associated with this particular type of music, so that you can make informed decisions about how your own music will be similar to or different from the established mold. Really quick, I want to thank my wonderful patrons for their support of this channel. I wouldn't be able to put these videos together without you. This week, a special shout out goes out to my newest patron, Marcos. I'm grateful to have you on the team, have really enjoyed chatting with you on the page, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you better over the coming weeks. If you would like to show your support for this channel by becoming a patron, purchasing a copy of my book, or signing up for private lessons, the links are in the description of this video. So with that, let's get started. All right, so first things first, let's listen to an actual sample of this template. Now here we have a very simple 8-bar idea that gets repeated 3 times. With each repetition, the orchestration will grow a little bit larger. So with that, let's give a quick listen. All right, so there we go, a quintessential, cliche, and simple love theme. Let's take a look at how I wrote it. So, first off, we want to set the stage for our theme, meaning that we want to select an appropriate tempo and time signature. Now, typically, most love themes are going to be written in simple meter, either 3/4 time or 4/4 time. For this theme, I stuck with 4/4. Next, the tempo will typically be on the slower side, somewhere around 70 to 90 beats per minute. And for this theme, I decided to stick to 75 BPM. Now, with the tempo and the time signature taken care of, we can start to actually sketch out the idea. Personally, I like to start with harmony first, so that's what we'll do here. Most love themes are very simple. They tend to stick to functional harmony in major keys, and use almost strictly just triads. Now, I've made other videos that tackle this topic extensively, so I'm not going to go too in-depth here. Just know that the chord progression we are using sticks entirely to triads from the key of C major. Our progression goes C major, F major, E minor, D minor, C major, F major, A minor, and then G major. With our chord progression figured out, our next step is to write a melody. Now, once again, simplicity here is key. Most love themes will stick to melodies that consist largely of chordal tones, or notes that appear in the chords below. Non-chordal tones are typically used a little more sparingly, and even then typically just as short passing tones or neighbor tones. The one exception is that the 7th of a chord can sometimes be emphasized in the melody even if it doesn't appear in the chord below. For example, take a look at our melody here. Now, each of the highlighted notes is a chordal tone. Only the C at the end of measure 4 can't really be found in the underlying chord. But the C is the 7th scale degree of D minor, so it still works. The 4 remaining tones are all non-chordal tones. Notice how they each appear on a weak metric stress and are sandwiched between 2 chordal tones. This is pretty typical of love themes. So now that we have our melody and harmony figured out, the last defining characteristics of a love theme all have to do with orchestration. Typically, when a love theme needs to be soft and intimate, it will be orchestrated as just some combination of a solo instrument performing the melody with soft strings on the harmony and bass line. If you need something a little stronger, it can be as simple as doubling or replacing the solo instrument with one of the 5 string families, typically either violin 1 or cello. If you wanted to get a little more nuanced, you could consider writing a countermelody and having another string family perform that as well. Finally, for a big, dramatic declaration of love, these themes are very frequently orchestrated with the melody performed in octaves by violins, violas, and cello. The harmony and bass line are then performed by the brass and contrabass, while the horns perform a countermelody in unison, and woodwinds can play some trills, runs, or really any kind of ear candy. Now let's listen to our example once again, but this time look for how these principles are being applied to each repetition of the theme. So, just to recap, a prototypical love theme will stick to either 3/4 time or 4/4 time, with a slower tempo somewhere between 70 to 90 beats per minute. The harmony will pretty much stick to a simple triads and functional harmony within a major key. Melodies will stick mostly to chordal tones, with only a few neighbor tones and passing tones being used to add a little personality. Finally, intimate arrangements will stick to a solo instrument on melody and soft strings on harmony. Medium-sized arrangements will either replace or double the solo instrument with the first violins or cello, and can possibly include a countermelody as well. And climactic arrangements place the melody in octaves within the string section, use the brass and contrabass to support the harmony and bass line, and horns on countermelody and woodwinds on ear candy. Now, templates like this can be super useful. They provide a starting point so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you need to write a love theme. However, they are cliché for a reason, and you should never fully rely on a template if you want to write interesting and emotionally rich music. If you are interested in learning an effective approach to writing emotionally expressive music, I recommend checking out my video on the psychology of emotions and music, or purchasing a copy of my book, The Musical Storyteller, translating story worlds, characters, and emotions into music. Once again, I want to thank my wonderful patrons for their support, as well as all of you who show your support through the many kind and supportive comments, emails, and messages that I receive. I appreciate each and every one of you. So until next time, keep studying, keep working hard, and keep writing new music.